Have you ever made a plan for your knitting year and then felt it shift? This is the video for you. My name is Mari and welcome to my channel. I'm a knitter and maker based in beautiful Bergen. Here, I sew, knit and create garments that brings me joy and fit seamlessly into my life. I love giving patterns a little twist, changing the construction, adjusting the shape, swapping out yarns or adding personal details that make the final piece feel like me. Today I'm sharing a slow, thoughtful update on my Make 9 for 2025. What's finished, what I'm still working on, the pieces I'm saying goodbye to for now, and one unexpected project that snuck its way onto my needle. Because even with the best of plans, our creative rhythm changes, and that's kind of the beauty of it. Some knits stay exactly as imagined, others they evolve, and some, well, they lead us somewhere entirely new. There's a little surprise too. I'm giving away the beautiful Holst Supersoft yarn I originally planned for the Iris sweater. I'll share why I've decided to let that project go and how you can enter the giveaway a little later in this video. So if you're curious about how my year of making is unfolding and how I'm gently adapting as I go, pour yourself something cozy and let's take a look at it together. When I sat down to choose my Make 9 for 2025, I wasn't looking for a challenge or a checklist. I wanted a soft, thoughtful framework. Something that would guide me through the seasons with a sense of calm and purpose. Each project on the list holds something I'm genuinely excited about. Some feels big and meaningful, like my wedding dress. Others are smaller, more practical. Things I'll know I'll reach for again and again. Together they form a quiet little map of what I want more of in my making life this year. Looking at this list now, a few themes stand out clearly. I'm really drawn to structure and details. Stitches that invite a slower pace, like cables, lace or gentle texture. I want to knit things that I'll actually wear, both in the everyday life and on days that matter. I'm giving myself permission to use yarns I've been saving. That special mohair, the silk blends, and that one special skein I've been waiting for the right moment to use. And maybe most of all, I'm seeking a gentle balance between projects that stretch me and the ones that suits me. Some pieces will challenge my skills. Others will be simple, meditative companions to quiet evenings or busy weeks. My Make 9 isn't about pressure. It's about intention. It's a reminder that I get to shape this creative year in a way that feels right for me, one hopeful project at a time. So let's talk about what's done. These are the knits that have moved from idea to finished project and actually also into my real life. I'll talk about how they turned out, what I learned, and how they're fitting into my wardrobe. So let's start with the Venilia Tee. The Venilia Tee feels like summer. It's light, airy, and just effortless. The lace yoke was what drew me in immediately. It's soft and structured, and at the same time it gives the whole piece a kind of quiet elegance. The pattern is really well thought out. It has a relaxed fit with short row shaping in the back. It hangs beautifully. It's the kind of top you can wear with trousers, over dresses, or layered under a cardigan. For yarn, I used Mondim dyed by La Bien-Aimée, and I truly think this colorway is my yarn soulmate. It's earthy but punchy, warm but grounded. I already have a few other pieces in that color, so this tee just reinforced how much I love it. Of course, I have made a few personal changes. I swapped the ribbing for a double knit hem, both on the sleeves and on the body, which give it a neater, more finished edge, in my opinion. I also added a few extra short rows after the lace yoke to balance the fit. The neckline, however, is a bit wider than what I usually go for, especially with my narrow shoulders. At first, I was worried it would feel too open, but I do love how it turned out. It sits lightly and elegantly, and even though I consider adjusting the lace pattern to raise the neckline a bit more, I didn't want to interrupt the seamless start to the lace pattern, because I think that's one of the most beautiful parts of this design. It's all about the trade-offs, isn't it? Every time I wear this tee, it shouts for attention, but it quietly holds its own. I worn it on a few warm days, but also layered it on cooler days. It fits into every season, I think. One that's soft spoken but steady. This is the kind of knit I always want more of. Next up is the Dori Vest. It's a small piece with big impact in my wardrobe. I wanted something simple but structured, and this vest delivered exactly that. It's knit in brioche, which gives it such a rich texture and beautiful stretch. I used Rauma Fivel in the color 09. This deep navy blue that works with absolutely everything. Fivel is one of those yarns that still has a bit of rustic Norwegian wool feel, but it's soft enough to wear comfortably, if you like a bit of rustic yarns. Construction-wise, the pattern is clever. You start with the back panel, then pick up stitches for the front and finish it all off with sweetest little ties under each arms. I knit it on 5mm needles to accommodate my looser gauge. And yes, brioche stitch is kind of slow. Every row is basically worked twice. So this vest took me a bit longer than I thought to finish, but it was a nice knit. It looks amazing over a white shirt at work. It's fitted but not too tight. The structure makes it feel a little dressed up even when it's paired with simple basics. The only caveat I'll share is that the pattern is written in that very Nordic way. It's a bit minimal on explanations. So it helps to be familiar with construction techniques or comfortable improvising a little as you go. But overall, this vest turned out to be one of my most worn knits for the year. And finally, the big one, my hand-knitted wedding dress. This was the project of a lifetime. I knew I wanted something personal and one of a kind, and I couldn't quite find the right design in an existing pattern. So I took inspiration from Veronica Lindbergh of Kutuvakika's dress, but in the end this became my own design entirely. I used Sandnes Sundays in classic white. It's soft and light and delicate, perfect for something you want to feel both romantic and wearable. Every stitch of this dress carried so much meaning, and I casted it off just before my wedding. The whole process felt emotional, a little surreal, and honestly so grounding. I love knowing that I was wearing something I made with my own two hands on one of the most meaningful days of my life. The response has been overwhelming in the best way. I received so many kind messages, and I had the opportunity to speak about the process at Bergen Knitting Festival, which still feels a little unbelievable. If you're curious about the full story, I have a separate video that walks through everything, from design decisions to challenges and to the final joyful moment on the wedding day. So check that out if you're interested. Now a little update on the project that was on my original Make 9 list that I'm currently working on. And that's the Diona Tee by Sari Nordlund. This one really speaks to me. It's elegant, light, and has that perfect mix of clean simplicity and beautiful details. The flowing cables down the front and the back adds just enough texture to keep things interesting, while the 2x2 ribbing along the sides and sleeves keeps the shape neat and wearable. It's the kind of piece that looks thoughtful without trying too hard. Something you can dress up or down and always feels comfortable in. I'm knitting it in silk BFL blend from the Wool Kitchen, which I picked up back at Edinburgh Yarn Fest in 2019. It's been quietly waiting in my stash ever since, and now it's finally getting its moment. The color is soft, almost icy blue, with tiny coppery speckles that catch the light. It's subtle, but it's so beautiful, and I think it elevates the whole piece. I will make a small adjustment by lengthening the sleeves just a little bit. I love that slightly longer sleeve on a summer tee. It feels polished, but still breezy. Right now, I've passed the armhole and I'm working my way down the body. I've actually been treating this as a slow, steady project, aiming for about a centimeter every time I sit down with it. That pace gives me both progress and peace. And this is actually the only Make 9 project that I'm actively working on at the moment. And I'm really enjoying the rhythm of it. No rush, just the quiet satisfaction of seeing it grow one cable at a time. Now let's talk about a few projects that were on my original 2025 Make 9 list, but are officially getting swapped out. Not because I don't love them, I really do, but as the year goes on, I'm getting clearer on what I actually want to knit right now. And honestly, that's my take on my Make 9. It gives you a gentle starting point, and it's not a rigid checklist, because you are allowed to change your mind. Back in January, I was so excited to cast on the Poetry Pullover. It's an elegant design with a lace yoke that feels timeless and romantic. I'd admired it actually for years, and it was high on my dream knits list. But here's the thing, this is one of the white garments that I have planned for this year. And after swimming in a pool of white for months while knitting my wedding dress, I just can't bring myself to finish all of those other big white projects right now. I want color, I want softness, and I want something fresh. So the Poetry Pullover is staying on the someday shelf, because I will not be knitting it this season. Next is the Auguste Sweater, which is basically a cable heaven. The structure, the polish is modern and classic all at once. I really admire Johanna's design and style. But again, this was one of the projects I was planning in white. My wardrobe is asking for something a little bit more playful right now, and my brain is asking for something with more interest and color. But the thing is, I do have a lot of white Sunday left, and that brings me to the Pearl Sweater, which is taking both of those other projects' place on my list. And honestly, I couldn't be happier for that decision. The Pearl has everything I want in a knit right now. It has big flowing cables with a little different twist. It has an intuitive top-down construction and a relaxed but thoughtful silhouette. It's cozy, texture, and full of character, and it's the kind of piece I know I'll reach for a lot. What makes this project especially meaningful is the yarn. I'm planning to knit it in some leftovers of Sunnice Sunday from my wedding dress, held together with a silk alpaca blend I bought at Bergen Knitting Festival from Through the Wardrobe Yarns. The indie dyer behind this brand has such a lovely story. She started off inspired by her grandmother and the Chronicles of Narnia. And that adds that little spark of childhood magic and imagination. It feels so perfect for a project that's already filled with meaning. The results will be something that feels like a continuation of my wedding knit. Not quite as formal, but equally heartfelt. Another project that's coming off the list completely is the Diamond Jumper by Anne Ventzel. She's a talented designer who really knows how to highlight simplicity in a beautiful way. I'm actually knitting her slanting slipover right now, and I'm really enjoying it. But working with this pattern, I discovered something, to me, surprising. The size range only goes up to 112 centimeter bust. While I do have the skills to modify this design to fit me, I genuinely believe that size-inclusive design should be the standard, not the exception. Everyone deserves to feel seen in knitting, and moving forward, I want to be more intentional about where I place my support. I'll still share the modifications for the slanting slipover when I make them, but I want my list to reflect the kind of community I want to help build. Inclusive, thoughtful, and accessible to more makers. You can hear more about my thoughts on this in podcast episode 6, and I'll link that right up here and in the description. I'm planning to create a tutorial on modifying patterns once I'll finish that vest. So make sure you're subscribed if that's something you'll find helpful. Instead of knitting the diamond jumper, I've decided to design something myself. A drop shoulder sweater with a mix of twisted rip and this diamond styled faux cables. And I wanted to have a V-neck as well. I'm really excited about this one, especially because I want to try out a technique that is kind of inspired by the saddle shoulder, with all of the increases done along the shoulders and everything knit in one contiguous piece. I think that's a really fun way of making a drop shoulder, so I can't wait to get started on that one. I'll be knitting it in Vidde, which is one of my favorite yarns. It's beautifully balanced blend of lamb's wool and pelt wool that's soft, bouncy, and rustic in the best way. It has just enough tooth to show off a texture beautifully without feeling scratchy. I can already picture myself reaching for this sweater over and over, and I want it to feel classic but personal. And finally, the iris sweater. This one had so much promise. It's color work, it has a crisp, delicate silhouette, it got absolutely beautiful details, and I was planning a cropped version in Holst Supersoft, the original colors, and I even started swatching it this summer. But once I got into the color work chart on the swatch, I realized something important. The contrast between the colors just wasn't strong enough, at least not for my eyes. When I stepped back and looked at the pattern as a whole, it was beautiful, but while actually knitting it, I just couldn't see what I was doing. The lack of contrast in that speckly yarn made the work feel a bit too tedious, and honestly, I felt my creative spark dimming just working on the swatch. So that one I'm really letting go. But the yarn for the sweater, however, it is still beautiful. And I don't want it to sit unused, and it's so beautiful in this design. So if you've been dreaming of knitting the iris sweater, I'd love to pass the yarn along. Just leave me a comment sharing why you would love to knit this piece, and I'll choose someone to send it to. Keep in mind, I was planning a cropped version, so the yardage may be a bit on the shorter side. Now let's talk about the project from my 2025 Make 9 list that are still in the planning phase, or maybe waiting patiently in my project basket. And I do hope to finish them before the year is up, or at least cast them on. These are the knits that still feels really exciting, still feels possible, and still feel like me, even if they haven't been casted on yet. The Dārta sweater really stole my heart when I first saw it. It's soft, romantic, and just a little whimsical, with beautiful drape, a reverse stockinette, and the sweetest little ruffles added on at the end in a contrasting shade. It's knit bottom up with fingering and lace yarns held together. The silhouette is clean and elegant with just a touch of playfulness. The ruffles are really the star of the show, and I love that they invite for a bit of experimentation. I'm using both fingering weight and a lace weight in a collaboration with La Bien-Aimée and The Wandering Flock called Peaches and Dreams, and together they will create this dreamy texture that feels light and a little magical. However, this is a stockinette heavy project, and since I already have another small sailing knit on my nails right now, which I will talk about in just a moment, I've decided to pause Dārta for just a bit. She's not off the list. She's parked until the timing feels right and the desire to knit long rows of smooth fabric returns. And then there's the Nordic bloom cardigan, a celebration of tradition with a modern twist. Bold floral color work inspired by Scandinavian motifs, with a silhouette that's oversized, cozy, and full of personality. I haven't casted this one on yet, but it is coming. I can feel it. I'm still deciding between two yarn options, either Vidde from Hillesvåg, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, which is soft and rustic with just the right amount of character, or Rauma Fivel, which is a bit closer to the pattern original yarn, but still beautifully soft and springy. For colors, I'm dreaming of a warm pink base with a deep plum red for the floral motifs, or maybe the other way around. Something rich, joyful, and bold, but still wearable. I want this piece to feel like a statement, but one that fits easily into my everyday wardrobe. It's a bottom-up construction with strided colorwork at the body. I love that it manages to feel both nostalgic and fresh at the same time. There's even a vest option, but I'm all in for the cardigan. I'm looking forward to the process. It feels like a love letter to the kind of knitting that brought me here in the first place. Colorful, traditional, and full of heart. So that's where I am with these two. They haven't made it onto my needles quite yet, or in Dārta's case, they're taking a quiet pause. They're still very much alive in my imagination, and I think that is just as important. Knitting isn't just about finishing, It's about staying inspired, staying curious, and making space for projects that lights you up, even if they take their time. But before I wrap up this update, I want to share something new that just made it onto my needles. It's a project that wasn't on my original Make 9 list, but definitely deserves a spot. I've cast it on for a blouse. It's completely improvised. No pattern, no name yet, just a quiet idea that's slowly been shaping in my mind. I wanted something soft, playful, and just a little romantic. And this is what's emerging. I'm knitting in two absolutely dreamy yarns, Fuwa Fuwa and Moonspun by Moondrape Co. in the colorway Lichten. Moonspun is magic in yarn form. It's a collaboration between Moondrape Co. and Spin Cycle yarns. So it has the same structure and bounce as dyed in the wool, but with Moondrape's signature color play. Every skein feels like a tiny, joyful painting. Lichten is a rich green. This is the perfect mix of olive and golden yellow, like sunlight filtering throughout spring leaves. It has just enough depth and life to it. It just glows. I have paired it with Fuwa Fuwa, a brushed cashmere and merino blend that's as light as air. It creates this incredibly soft, textured fabric. Fuwa Fuwa means fluffy in Japanese, and that's exactly what this feels like. It's like knitting with a cloud. The design I have in mind is simple, but with a few special touches. A soft shirt collar, this one, and a gently puffed sleeve. And maybe some little buttons down the front. Everything is evolving slowly and I'm taking my time. No rush, just enjoying the feel of the yarn and watching the shape unfold. I think that's the beauty of adding new projects mid-year. Sometimes your needles ask for something a bit different, something spontaneous, and when that happens, it's okay to follow that spark. So yes, this little blouse is officially part of the plan now. I can't wait to see where this goes. So that's where I am in my Make 9 journey this year. A little progress, a few pivots, and plenty of inspiration still ahead. It's been really grounding to see that project have made their way into my daily life. Which one are taking a pause and which ideas that are lighting me up. Throughout it all, I keep coming back to the same reminder. Knitting doesn't have to be linear. If you like to hear even more about what's currently on my needles, I dive deeper into all of my works in progress, including some that didn't make the Make 9 list. In the latest episode of my knitting podcast, I'll link it to you so you can check it out right here. And don't forget, if you love the chance to knit the iris sweater yourself, I'm giving away the Holst Supersoft I originally set aside for it. Just leave a comment below telling me why you love to make it. And I'll pick one of you to send the yarn to. Thanks for spending this time with me, and as always, keep knitting what brings you joy.